in Tallinn in Estonia. Welcome. I'm here for a bit of a break, and to see the place is. I got some ridiculously cheap flights on Ryanair, so I thought, let's come have a look. What's the worst that can happen? So I'm here for 4 days, 3 nights. And it's my opportunity to kind of see a bit about, because I've never been to Estonia, never been to anything like kind of in this region. So it's a good opportunity to kind of see what there is to offer and get a sense of what's going on. I mean, I literally got a £30 Ryanair flight. I'm not going to necessarily say that I recommend Ryanair. It's cheap. We got there. We were not kind of maimed in any way. So, on most kind of levels of was it okay, it did the job. It got me from A to B. Was it pleasant? No. Not really. The earplugs I was wearing for the whole flight helped drown out the irritating, laddish kind of football shouting chants that appeared to be going on. There seemed to be, about 50 bachelors' parties, deciding to have their party on the plane. If you've ever seen The In-Betweeners, the movie, it was a bit like that moment where Will says, "But not Burnley. I fucking hate Burnley." But fortunately, the earplugs did a good job of preventing me from suffering that much, and I was able to sit next to the window and look out of the beautiful window and see Manchester in the kind of dawn. That was quite wonderful. And also look out over kind of the Yorkshire moors and then over Denmark and stuff as we kind of came into Estonia. That was quite awesome. So I walked from the airport to the city. I mean, there are relatively cheap taxis and buses, a £2 bus, that's not going to break the bank. But I thought, what better way to kind of orientate yourself in an area than just to walk? And it only is 4 kilometres, and I'm meant to be fit or something. And 4 kilometres really isn't anything anyway. Not when all you're carrying is kind of 7 kilograms of... yes, 7 kilograms of the standard things that Tim carries, all the important things, laptops and cameras. Anyway, it's interesting here because, I don't speak any Estonian. I've been listening to a lot of people who've clearly been speaking Russian, but all the advice says do not speak Russian to locals, and considering that English is a much widely spoken language, there's no need to. But there are a lot of English tourists here, and if they're not English, then they're American or Australian or some kind of English speaking. I mean, even some guys who I'm pretty sure were Finnish were communicating with the locals in English. So it doesn't really feel like you're away very much. It's quite like, I don't know, York or one of these, York or Durham. It resembles in quite a lot of ways, obviously or perhaps kind of Bruges or one of the kind of Belgian arty-farty towns. Okay, arty-farty is not the right word. Old towns. There's a lot of old architecture, old buildings. Not always in the best of repair, but generally in quite good repair. I mean, so far, I mean, to be fair, this is the capital city and I'm right in the tourist district, so it's hard to kind of get a good impression, but from what I've seen so far, it's not. It compares more favourably to, say, Krakow in Poland in terms of how well everything's maintained. Now, obviously, that's not everything, but shrug. The amount of tourism is quite. Well, you either love it, or you hate it, I guess. If you're not kind of very confident abroad, then you can basically have a wonderful time here, enjoying all the wonderful kind of local sights to see in this area, and I imagine you'll never need to learn a word of any other language, or do any kind of pointing or sign language or anything, because it will all be fine. I think I'm finding that slightly frustrating. I mean, I was given this map by my hostel, and in it says, the relationship between the traveller and the city has always been one of the hunter and the hunted, with the traveller often being preyed on. And it does feel like that a little bit. However, I have done my research, so whilst this map is beautiful and pretty and everything, here are my OpenStreetMap printouts with all the bars in everywhere. Look, more street map printouts. And look, WikiTravel. WikiTravel is the most amazing. It's like the Wikipedia of travelling, like the Wikipedia version of the rough guides. And it has lists of attractions and places to eat, places to stay. This is where it was through WikiTravel that I came across the hostel that I'm staying at, and Euphoria, which is some kind of crazy artisan, psychedelically decorated hostel, which seems alright. The guy who checked me in was from Australia, so yes, yet again, no language difficulties. Shrug. Anyway, so tomorrow, I know I don't like cities actually, but it's kind of, I know I don't like cities where I'm not going to be pushed out of my comfort zone, and I also don't like cities. This kind of city wall here is with its watchtowers that you can't really see because of the trees, and this beautiful park is all well and good, but it's not actually really Estonia. It's just kind of a projected image based on what it was like 200 years ago, then restored and done up for tourists. So it's not really what I want to see. Now, I'm not much of a nightlife kind of person, so I'm not really interested in seeing the local nightlife either, although there's seems to be some good options if I wanted to go and explore that. What I'm going to do is, tomorrow I'm going to hire a bike from a place called City Bike, and they've planned an itinerary which means that I will spend 2 days, 1 night, cycling the countryside of Estonia, and seeing what there is to see. I don't know what I've got to see. I don't know what there is to see, but on a bike, you can take the time. Won't be in a city. Make detours, make stops. Should be fun. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I mean, I'm going to go and do the rest of the exploring of the Old Town area, take some more photos, try desperately not to meet as many of my fellow countrymen as possible, and get an early night's sleep. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, yeah, yes. Hello again. So, today I'm being most irresponsible. Doing the awkward moment when a fly flies into your mouth. When you're cycling down a cycle track just outside of Tallinn, and things are going good. I got this at City Bike this morning. Lovely people. I sent them an email yesterday saying, "Oh, I'm very sorry, I forgot to tell you. Could you check that the hotel that you put me into aren't going to be offended that I'm a vegetarian and I just want to eat like bread and cheese and boring things?" And they said to me, "Oh, don't worry, we've checked with the hotel. They've got a vegetarian menu, and their chef's one of the best well-known in the countries for doing Estonian food in vegetarian style." And I was like, wow, that is awesome. Okay, just hold on a second, because I'm about to drive across a road. Woo, managed that. It's amazing. Estonian roads, well, you know, let's face it, everyone's got a stereotype. Baltic Republic roads, what do you think? It's going to be good, bad, or okay? I mean, there's the road, look at it. What do you think? Good, bad, okay? Well, the answer is very good. Incredibly gentle and respectful of cyclists and pedestrians. Like, if you stand at a crossing, the car will stop and you'll be expected to cross. No kind of, oh well, if you're standing at the side, I'll walk past. And certainly no kind of, like, you just have to walk across because the cars won't stop for you. It's incredible. Yeah. Certainly not other parts of the world. And so far I've only cycled on cycle paths. Well, that's not entirely true, but I've largely only cycled on cycle paths. And look at this cycle path. There's a whole ditch between it and the road. How awesome's that? Food-wise, I think I've been doing pretty okay. The Estonians seem to get feta. Like, they understand feta cheese. I'm not sure about anything else. It's just kind of funny how there is Salatkäse, Salatkäse in German, marked on the road. Marked on packages in the supermarkets, and of course, kind of lots of other things. I'm not sure they understand any other sort of cheese. I mean, fair enough, but shrug. Anyway, so I'm cycling along here. I've got a map and stuff in my bag, and hopefully we'll see some cool things today. And hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the noise of air rushing through me rushing through the wind. Well, there's not very much wind, but you get the idea. Anyway, look at the beautiful view of my cycle path. been cycling today. It's been good. It's been really good. Let's pick up where we left off. Seems like a good plan, doesn't it? So yesterday I got some food. I had wonderful Estonian dumplings, which are great. And I also went to what was called a legendary pancake house, which was quite awesome, and had fantastic kind of Estonian style, what was it? Pancakes. Yeah, that'd be the one. Cheese and mushroom. It was quite awesome. Yeah, and very, very filling. A nice beer, wheat beer. Then what? Then I went back to the hostel even, Euphoria. Nice guys there. Very relaxed. And I was, although I wanted to abuse their free Wi-Fi even more, the thing I like about the free Wi-Fi here is that people don't even feel the need to state that they've got free Wi-Fi. It's just there. The free Wi-Fi just kind of appears all over the place. But yes, so although I wanted to abuse their Wi-Fi more, I went straight to bed pretty much because I was exhausted after getting up at stupid o'clock and yeah, just having generally not much fun on flights. And so this morning I went to City Bike, who I've rented a bike off for 2 days. They do these self-guided tours, which basically means they give you a map and they book a hotel and they give you a vague direction of where to go on a bike and off you go. Great way to see the Estonian countryside and great way to kind of get off the beaten track, because the city centre of the old town of Tallinn is very kind of nice and touristy, but it's not very genuine, or kind of, you don't really see actually Estonia. So that's all. That's good. But getting out of the town was brilliant. Getting to see well, actually, cars in Estonia are incredibly... I mean, you might think, if one was hypothetically a naive Briton with old-fashioned stereotypical views, one might hypothetically think that what with Estonia being an old ex-USSR republic, that, you know, driving in Estonia would have some kind of bearing on the same kind of driving that happens in Russia. Okay, there's a tiny bit of kind of similarities, but there's pretty much none. Drivers in Estonia seem to give way to pedestrians and bikes at all opportunities, even opportunities I don't want them to. I'm quite happy to wait for them to kind of drive over a crossing whilst I kind of wait for them to go, but no, I must go first because I am a bike. But that's obviously very nice. And they're just the same to pedestrians, which is also very nice. And also there's an awful lot of bike paths. And so the first kind of 10 kilometres or so, I just cycled on bike path, really... Well, you'll have seen it, won't you? Really good bike path. Yeah, when I said pick up, I may have forgotten about what I said to you a couple of minutes ago. Don't worry, it happens. So, there's lots of forest in Estonia. You probably may not realise that there's lots of forest. Lots of pine forest. Pretty pine forest, and lots of it. And so, when you're cycling along, you're frequently cycling in a pine, on a road through a pine forest, which perhaps might not be, if you were hypothetically a really old-fashioned European, might not be what you were expecting. But along the way, I've seen some quite awesome things. I've stopped at... where did I stop? He says, feeling a bit sheepish. Well, I missed out some kind of... On my map, I had various kind of things that I could stop at. And on my map, I decided to miss out the first one, which was to see an open-air folk museum of buildings and things. And the main reason for that is that I mainly blame my parents for taking me around far too many of the similar kind of things in the whole of Europe. And so I've seen so many reconstructed villages in my childhood that right now it's not particularly what I wanted to see. So I didn't go to it, which is a great thing about a self-guided tour. I don't have to go. Yay! What else happened? Then I went to the top of a tall sea cliff. I was told there was going to be some uphill on my bike ride because you go straight from the beach to the top of the cliff. Uphill apparently means 30 metres, like 90 feet. Like, there was a sign saying there's a 6% gradient, and it was really, really easy on this mountain bike. Like, that's not a hill. Hills are what they have in the Isle of Skye, and that's not a hill. But it was beautiful. A great kind of vista of things below me, like the beach and the sea, and awesome wonders like that. Then I went for a bit of a detour onto the beach. The next place I stopped was, I forget its name, one of the third largest waterfall in Estonia. I think that will be by volume rather than necessarily by height, because it was about 3 metres high and several metres wide, and quite cool. Literally, I didn't go in there. There's not all that much to say about it, except it was quite nice, pretty. And by that time I started to run out of photos on my camera. All this trying to take panoramas means I burn through gigabytes like never before. I mean, yeah, I've never actually managed to run out of photos in one day before, but it was good. The other thing that was there was this wonderful suspension bridge. Now, apparently, Russian tradition says that when a couple gets married, you get a padlock, and you generally engrave your names and the date on it, and then you padlock it to a bridge, or this bridge, or something. Anyway, on this bridge, this suspension bridge, just above this waterfall, there were millions upon millions, okay, maybe slight exaggeration, there were hundreds upon hundreds of padlocks. And so whenever you walked across the bridge, all these kind of padlocks kind of rattled a little, and there were just hundreds of them all over the bridge. It was, I don't know, either moving or weird or just what the fuck or something. I mean, yeah, it's quite hard to kind of know how to react to it. But very, very cool to see anyway, for certain. And then I just arrived at this, there's a hotel. I knew I'd booked a hotel. I hadn't booked a hotel. City Bike had booked a hotel for me, because this is part of their route. And I just kind of expected, it's just going to be a small hotel. What could possibly go wrong? I turn up, well, I start looking for it, and I see Spa Hotel sign posted, so I'm like, oh brilliant, there it is. I get to the turn off and it's like, this way for the spa resort. So I'm like, okay, I'll just follow this. And I come down and there's this huge mega complex of hotel. So, you know, casually park my bike out the front and stroll in and say, I think I have a reservation. As you do. And so I, you know, do have a room, just in case that wasn't clear. So I'm a bit hungry, and I've obviously, you already know, that apparently they're meant to be good for vegetarian food, so I casually stroll into the restaurant. And I'm not sure particularly what it was that surprised her. It was either that I started speaking in English to ask for a table for one, or that I was wearing a t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms. Because one of those things really visually shocked this waitress that I spoke to. Well, it felt like I'd kind of walked into some kind of high-end restaurant, which I probably had. Vastly underdressed, and not looking the part for it. Which wasn't necessarily what I'd expected, but it was just very bizarre because, you know, well, I guess, you know, fine dining's great, and I do enjoy good quality food, but well, let's face it, I'm backpacking around Estonia, and I've just been for a day's cycling. As much as I enjoy a hotel, I think I actually forgot my tuxedo in Britain. You know, I went for all the luxuries I could do. I brought my laptop, but I forgot my tuxedo. Damn it. I mean, what am I doing? Well, surely I should have known that was the most important part, to kind of come properly dressed. Because all these kind of other people there in relatively kind of smart, smartish dressing, and so I was kind of, I feel a bit out of place. And then they started giving me, you know, I definitely had one of the best kid-sized portion of pasta that I'll ever eat. It's a pity it wasn't adult-sized, and it's a pity I paid kind of Deansgate prices for it, but, you know, it was, as I say, the best portion of kid-sized pasta that I will ever eat. I don't know. Shrug. At least, perhaps I'm being slightly mean. At least I'm going to, not going to put on any weight, which is definitely a positive, considering I'm, you know, doing loads of exercise. Woo, woo, woo. Yay. Now, the hotel actually has a pool, but the more observant of you will have realised by this point that I'm not standing in a swimming pool, but I'm standing in the sea. Yay! There's the hotel behind the trees. I'm not quite sure what the crazy dance music is, if you can hear it, but I don't care. Crazy dance. Oh, look, wind turbines. Apparently, Estonia relies greatly on wind power. There's a fun fact for you. Yeah, so I'm in the sea, and, well, it's taken me ages to walk far enough out that I could possibly consider, he says, shivering, consider immersing myself in it. However, knowing me, I will not be happy to walk back in until that has happened. However, I will not be doing this right now. I think more acclimatization is required. And with this video almost pushing 15 minutes, almost to the dot, then I think it's probably time for you to take a break and me to speak to you later. I'd just like to add some proof that I did in fact go in. It is incredibly shallow here. I'm like almost sitting on the bottom. Like annoyingly shallow, and I definitely need to be a better swimmer. Like, the 100 metres across open cold water is definitely on. That challenge that I suggested to do, 100 metres over cold open water, definitely needs to happen. But it needs to happen after I've trained up a bit. Because that was pathetic, Tim, like only 20 metres or something. Not good enough. Need to be able to do, even if my feet are bumpy on the sand, which is quite an annoying thing, I can't really be bothered going further out than... It's not that I'm scared of going further out, it's a bloody long way. Yeah, kind of... Just can't be bothered, really. Not with going out. I imagine it's where it gets deeper, where the waves are breaking slightly more, but I'm only slightly confident that that's true. Now I'm acclimatised. Well, mainly acclimatising wasn't the difficult bit, because whilst I was talking to you guys, it wasn't really very deep. But now I'm acclimatised and I plan to stay in here for a while. Yay! See you later. So who wants to see more of Tim's not very recommended carrying a camera and cycling thing? Well, guess what? That's what's happening. Woo! Yep, I'm cycling along this dirt track with the beach just down to my right. Look at the seaside. Isn't it just wonderful? So yeah, after yesterday I did a bit of swimming, as you may have seen. And set off this morning, woot woot, and yeah, I just wanted to say a little bit about the Estonian concept of villages. There isn't really a main street with lots of terraced houses along it. It seems that to Estonians a village kind of means a group of small holdings or farmhouses that have decided that they like each other enough so that they can live within about the same 3 kilometre square block of land. There's no kind of indication that you're cycling through a village, so really, because you can't really see any of the farmhouses. It's just like, oh, there's another farmhouse. Oh, and another one. Oh, well, they just must be two farmhouses. No, that's the village. That took me quite a while to catch on to yesterday after I cycled through the first kind of village place marker just without noticing. Not that was the end of the world, really. Yeah. So I've come off the main road, and as you can see, I'm cycling along this kind of forest track. Now, it is a real forest track, but also a real kind of road because it's marked and stuff. Bumpy roads for 2.3 kilometres. No way. Yes, and the national flower of Estonia seems to be, just driving on the wrong, the dandelion. There are so many dandelions. I mean, you can also see some other yellow flowers, which I think's celandine. But there are so many dandelions. I mean, everything that you can see on the right-hand side, well, the side you're looking at, my left-hand side, are dandelions. And they're just this kind of yellow expanse of dandelions. So, yes, also, the mosquitoes here are terrible. There are a lot of mosquitoes. I only have a few bites, and the few that I have are more than I want. Quite a lot more than I want. In fact, I didn't want any, surprisingly. But they seem to be kind of all over the forest, in the shade, in the grass. And so the moment you stop and get out of the sun, it's like you're suddenly pounced on by about 500 bloodthirsty mosquitoes. Now, mosquitoes aren't midges, but they're worse than midges, because midges don't leave like little itchy spots that don't go away for kind of days. And now, as you may have noticed, it's quite sunny. Look, there's the sun. And though I've been dropping on the Factor 50, a lovely spray-on transparent Factor 50, it's not been, well, I still have some quite intense sunburn, which will be a bit of a bugger when it starts peeling. Oh well. Now, I'm not even sure that I'm meant to be going this way. So I've started at Luma, whatever it is, cycled all down through here, turned off here, and onto the foresty track things. This could be the right way, it could not be. I don't really know. Yeah, it's the right track. Probably. Well, as long as I get there in the end, it's all good, isn't it? I'm meant to be heading towards those still wind turbines that you can just see in the distance there at some point. Not quite sure if it's actually this way that I'm meant to be going. Yep, anyway, I'm going to press on and I will be wrong or right, as always, one or the other. Well, this is fun. So, These are old. Okay, let's go up there. This is an old Soviet ICBM base. And as you can see, it's disused. This looks like it's some kind of hangar kind of thing to me. Ooh, very spooky. Probably not very exciting. The awkward moment when you walk into an ICBM. You can't quite see because of lens flare. There you have it. Now there's tons of mosquitoes here, so I'm going to head. Yeah, there was some kind of biological warfare going on called a mosquito. But look, here's some kind of thing, and there's loads of wiggly things down there, which I'm guessing are going to be frogs or newts or something. But there is literally no stopping the mosquitoes, so I'm going to jump back on the bike. So yeah, this is an old Soviet ICBM base, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. It was deserted when the Red Army left Estonia in 1994, and apparently all the buildings were destroyed. As you can see, they were not quite destroyed, but largely destroyed. Let's see what else we can find. Yeah, so there used to be this manor house just over there, I think, which is probably the bit that's been mowed, and look, electricity going to it. Or it could just be some random Estonian farmhouse. There seem to be quite a lot of those. Anyway, onwards. As you can see, this is quite a nice track, but still quite challenging mountain biking, kind of bouncy, bump-ness, especially when done one-handed. Real track. I'm going to go this way for a bit. Always remember, drive on the right hand side. Well, that was probably one of the most challenging bits of mountain biking that I've done for a while. Lots of kind of fun dirt tracks and ruts through fields and things when I took the routes that I shouldn't have done. But yeah, it was really fun. Maybe I need to get... I don't know. It's yeah. But I think now it's all going to be plain sailing. I'm at this cliff. I must say I've forgotten its name. Look, it's a really high cliff with like overhangs and stuff. And it goes on for some way. Basically I'm going to be following the cliff for the rest of today. But yeah, it's been fun, although there's been lots and lots of mosquitoes. I seem to have succumbed to some kind of old Soviet biological warfare called mosquitoes. Yeah, here's the lighthouse. It's the third tallest or something in Estonia. Yay, a lighthouse. Yeah, jump back on the bike. Hello. Well, I've come to the end, pretty much, of my second day of cycling, and all I have to do now is cycle, get the train back to Tallinn. Can I just say that missing your train by 30 seconds and the next one isn't for 1.5 hours is just as annoying in Estonia as it is in England, Britain, wherever. Because that's what I just did. My own fault. Thinking I had time to go and get some food. And then missing it by 30 seconds. So annoying. Oh well. I knew it was going to be fine. At least I've got this wonderful weather to relax in. And right now I'm not being ravaged by mosquitoes, which has been pretty much the story of today. I'll be interested to see... No, I won't. I'll be horrified to find out how many itchy spots are all over my arms in the next few days. I think taking some antihistamine might have been a prudent decision. Because there are literally it's kind of like... In some countries you get hordes of flies. Right now, right here, where I've been, in Estonia, it's just been hordes of mosquitoes that you hear buzzing around your head. And you know, mosquitoes hurt. You know, it's not kind of like this malaria style mosquito, they just hurt. But that's okay. This rather interesting situation where everybody seems to think it's cool to play on the train line, including these kids with their little bike. It's not cool to play on the train line, kids. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't play on the train line. Do something else instead. Play on here. Yeah, so that was interesting. You can see my eye, and it's zooming out now. That was interesting. I cycled past an apparently disused firing range that said in multiple languages, you know, stay away, and then in, you know, fire zone, and then slightly, that was the English translation, fire zone. I'm guessing that's a firing zone, but you tell me. I walked a little bit further down, and it says free zone. I think somebody's just got their translation a bit mixed up. Because things that say kind of stay out get out, stay out are generally not kind of free zones. Maybe kind of free bullet in the head zones. Perhaps. So the plan from now on, that was funny. So the reason I was late for the train was because I'd cycled past, whilst I was looking for the train station in this old Soviet town, called Paldinsky. I cycled past this pizza place, and I've been, for some reason, dying to have a pizza in Estonia, mainly because I thought it wasn't different. I wanted something that was the same. I don't know. Anyway, so I went in and ordered a pizza, and the lady didn't speak. I asked, "Do you speak English?" And she was like, so in my best kind of pointing language, I ordered what I wanted, and, vegetarian, it's on the menu, even says in English. Then it turns out that she was speaking to all her other customers in Russian. Because, this is one thing. So, it's quite understandable that there's a kind of national distaste for the Soviet occupation, which, let's face it, only ended, even here in Paldinsky, around 1994. So, that's not very long ago. So it's quite understandable that there's some mutual kind of unrest. But according to my guides, there's kind of like a 26% ethnic group of ethnic Russians in Estonia, and so people speaking Russian or there being Russian signs or Russian adverts are, relatively frequent. And so actually being able to say to the lady, "Spasiba, очень хорошо," that means thank you, very good, actually seemed to make a big difference. Even though everybody had advised me not to speak Russian under any circumstances whatsoever. But she was speaking to all her other customers in Russian, so, by the sound of it. So, shrug. Shrug. Real life shrug. It'd be quite nice to know some basic Estonian or Finnish. Just kind of like, yes please, no thanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That. Can I have, the basic terms that you generally need to survive in a country where you can use smiles and pointing and everything else. But yeah, I've generally I've not had language difficulties generally because I've not spoken to anyone, which has actually been a strategy because it's a bit tiring and I don't really have anything to say. So just waiting another hour or so for my train to Tallinn. Yay. Not like I don't have anything though. I wanted to get out a camera, laptop, or headphones or something, but shrug. There's just sun at the moment, and I can cope with that. Bye! I'm once again on the streets of Tallinn, in the old town. And, I've just returned my bike to the lovely guys at City Bike. So now, bikeless, but not altogether homeless. Let's face it. My rucksack's got pretty much everything that one could ever want. I'm going to go and rediscover this legendary pancake house I went to yesterday for dinner, and then back to the hostel, get some sleep, and I'll fly back on Ryan Fail tomorrow at 11:15. So yeah, it won't be long until farewell Estonia, and welcome back to Manchester. It's not long now. Feel the pressure, feel the pressure, feel the pressure.